quick name this song. Okay, it wasn't very good, but Jesus is Just All Right. It's a song we got to talk about, especially on this series that we're doing here, the Gospel of Rock. So I did just a little bit of research to try to, get at what happened with this song. So the song first came out. Now, I grew up. I was born in '70. In the early '80s, I heard the Doobie Brothers version. That was the only version I knew, and that was the only version that really charted the highest. It peaked at like 35, number 35. But the Doobie Brothers version was heavily based on the Byrds version, which came out in 1969. The Doobie Brothers version came out in '72. The Byrds version came out in '69, and they took it from a gospel song by this guy named Art Reynolds, who had the Art Reynolds Singers, and they had they put it on their 1966 album "Telling It Like It Is," and it's been covered by many others by this point. I was always a little bit, ambivalent about the song. I thought it was cool, but anytime I heard the name Jesus, being Jewish myself, it did make me bristle a little bit. Like, I didn't know whether to like it or not. But I thought it was a cool song, and these days I think it's even cool. I think I really like it now. I think the Doobie Brothers version definitely was the best. I like the version by the Byrds. And I'm not sure if I heard the original. I think I heard the original version by the Art Reynolds Singers. The DC Talk version is very good with it's the song with Toby Mac rapping over it, and he seems to be that's like a Christian rock rap group, as I understand it. Apparently they won a Grammy Award for the album that was on. And for all these bands, by the way, this became like a staple of their live shows. The Doobie Brothers, from what I just read, none of the band were that religious, and they still did the song. And I think what happened was that in this period of like '69 into the early '70s, there was the Jesus freak movement. And so there were a lot of young people, the hippies, that were into that kind of music, and there were some rock songs that were coming out, like Spirit in the Sky, which we already covered, that appealed to that fan base, to that demographic, which would be the young people who liked rock music and also were freaky about Jesus. And let's read the lyrics, and we'll keep talking about it. There's more to say. The Byrds version, apparently, that vocal intro, the do 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 do, that's on the Doobie Brothers, that also was done by the Byrds, but I think they did it more in their live concerts than on their record, the studio record. Jesus is just all right with me. Jesus is just all right. Oh yeah. Toby Mac changes it slightly to Jesus is still all right. I think he was the most religious of of all the people, except for the original gospel band, but more than the Byrds and the Doobie Brothers. I don't care what they may say. I don't care what they may do. I don't care what they may say. They may say Jesus is just all right. Jesus, and then the Doobie Brothers added this bridge. Jesus, he's my friend. He took me by the hand, led me far from this land. He's my friend. Jesus is just all right. So it's, it's saying, it's what Christians have dealt with, over the course of history, which is persecution, and also people not understanding their faith, and the Christian way is, I'm not backing down from my faith. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care, what anyone says about Jesus or about the faith. I'm sticking with it. It's just a cool song, and the word "all right." We've already talked about the word "all right" and how often it's been used in rock music, and how its use in the song is pretty brilliant, and how it does work. It works as a rock song, and like when I heard it growing up, when I was 11, 12 years old, 13 years old, again, it was, I was a little conflicted because I liked the song, but I also, didn't know how I felt about Jesus. So let's just say today I've been listening to a lot of the debates on YouTube about whether Jesus lived or not, the historicity of Jesus, contradictions in the Bible, all the debates that have been raging on, and they've become more and more, you could say, sophisticated as time goes by. I just watched one this evening where this guy, a fundamentalist, tries to say that Bart Ehrman, he's this atheist profession. He was an evangelical, and then he became an atheist, and now he's pushing his atheism on all of his students, and misinterpreting the Gospels and pushing his own agenda, which I don't think is true. I mean, everyone has a bias, and everyone does tend to, color things according to what they think. But the better a professor is, the more they can present things objectively. And I think he does try to present things as objectively as he can. I don't think anyone knows everything, and no one is perfect. So Jesus is just all right. I would say that the thing that doesn't get said enough, as far as I'm concerned, is I don't think there's an answer to any of these debates. We're never gonna get to what actually happened. Definitely not by, no matter how clever or how much historical data we have, information, we can get closer, but are we going to get to 100% proof? No. I think what we can say, though, is what effect does faith have on the individual? And no one can really tell you that except what your own experience is. And if Jesus is helpful, if you look to Jesus as the Doobie Brothers wrote, as a friend, um, who is a guide in troubled moments, and can lead you out of, the troubled land that you're in, then yeah, Jesus is all right. No matter what, even if the Bible is shown to be, there's very good reason to think that the Bible is the work of humans and is not the literal word of God, maybe divinely inspired, but there are contradictions. There's a lot of questionable things that I think are good to that we question them. For me personally, and what I'm trying to get at here is, I don't think it even matters if Jesus was a historical personage. I think it's the ideas that really make the difference for people. And an idea is not a physical thing. An idea is getting more into the thoughts, into the mind. It and those are the ideas are the most powerful things. As they say, the word is mightier than the sword. Which again is why we're focusing on the lyrics, because the words, but the words that just go back to the ideas. There's ideas behind the words. There's thoughts. There's thinking that goes into the words, and the thoughts do have an effect. They do, they share something with us. So that, the song Jesus is just all right, even if you don't understand what that means, and I didn't know what it meant really back, when I was a teenager, you get a sense from just the the whole feel of the song and the groove of the song and the way they sing it, what it means. So so much to be said here. Well, as I've been saying, we'll circle back. If you're interested, if you've been listening, we're going to circle back. I think this song was important to do, partly because this is a clear example of rock borrowing from gospel, and then rap, borrowing from rock, which we already knew happened, but it's a clear, a borrowing and an attempt to make one of these songs into a mainstream, hit. And the Doobie Brothers were successful, partly because they were such a great band. But they did a great version of the song. It's a brilliant version. So, it's one of the few songs that I can point to of Jesus in a rock song. There aren't too many times of songs that hit the charts where Jesus is talked about. That's something that a musicologist could tell us. I've already talked about Spirit in the Sky. How many other songs have talked about Jesus? I mean, by name. Obviously, there are songs that imply or refer without saying a name, but these songs actually use the word Jesus. Anyway, it's another thing we'll talk about as we go along. Thank you so much for listening, and keep on listening. Until next time.